So we are live, but I don't know if there's a title. So I'm going to check in the group. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. There is a title. Okay, I see us. All right. Okay, Ian, you ready to get started?
I'm all good. Whenever you're ready.
All right. I am so ready. So anybody who's watching the replay or anybody who joins us later, this is a money masterclass, and this started because my Laboratory Tuesday this week was about how I'd manifest $5,000 in 5 days, a challenge that I'm still personally running for myself. And I just realized there's so much juicy information in that process that I thought it'd be really fun to break it down so you guys can try it in real time yourself. And then I thought it'd be really important to have a real live human on with me so we could attack their resistances that come up. And you can see in real life what the process would be for overcoming those obstacles. So we have our amazing volunteer, Ian. Ian, say hi.
Hi.
And I'm going to structure this like I would a normal coaching call with a private client. So if you are watching the replay, at any point when we hit a part, at first I would watch it through with Ian so you can fully see what we go through with Ian. And then if you want to go back through, I would pause it for all of the prompts and then do it in your journal for yourself. So we're going to run through what Ian's answers would be, but pause it and run through what your answers would be. So, Ian, the first thing I always do is, especially for the first session, we just kind of arrive and close our eyes. And without thinking too much, just tell me what you're feeling, either emotionally or physically, about having to show up, about being on camera, about working together.
I'm nervous, but I was
You're nervous.
5 minutes ago.
Okay, that's awesome. So do you feel it physically anywhere in your body?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, my hip is cramping up.
Your hip is cramping up. Okay, perfect. So when I work with clients over and over, I start to really understand who they are and where their blockages are. But this is our first time coaching together. So you are guiding the way. When I repeatedly work with people, I usually tune in like a half an hour before, and I can see in their body where we need to work out some blockages. And so I will choreograph something for them. I won't make you move in any outrageous ways here on camera, because usually that's a very vulnerable, intimate process. But I think it is important.
Do your worst. Do your worst. Do it.
Do your worst. Okay. So let's just go for it. So, because everything is energy, and we're going to talk about that in a bit, our energetic blockages in our body manifest as physical stiffness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. So when we use our body as a tool to get into those areas and loosen them up and release, we're also releasing energetically, emotionally, mentally. Does that make sense?
Yeah, with you.
Okay. And then even just on a really literal level, when we show up, we're nervous and we're tense. Once we start laughing and start moving and start breathing, we just naturally settle into a more relaxed, energetic state. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just going to have you, are you sitting in a chair with your feet planted on the ground?
Planted, no. Sitting, yes.
Okay. So I'm just sitting on the floor. So we're just, the only important thing is that your spine is stacked. Have your hands in open position on your lap, just available to receive, and close your eyes. And take a nice deep inhale that really expands your lower abdomen so your diaphragm is fully engaged. It's almost like you have a breath baby, like people would have a food baby. When you inhale, make a really big breath baby. And then on your exhale, really intentionally contract those muscles so the air is forced all the way out. Okay, and now with your eyes closed, you're going to bring your hands together in a clap, so they're touching palm to palm, and you're just going to rub them and create some friction. All right, and keep going until you feel the heat. All right, and now you're going to put your hands over your face and allow that heat to warm your face. and nobody can see you because they're behind your face is behind your hands. Just stretch out your mouth, your eyes. Stretch everything out for a second. So for people to see me, I don't care if I look like a fool. I'm stretching out my mouth like this. Okay. All right, and then we're going to rub again. Ian. All right, and I hold a lot of anxiety in my chest to my heart. So I'm going to take that heat and I'm going to put it there. And continue to breathe. All right, now using your hands, we're just going to rub out our shoulders. You can open your eyes if you want to watch me. Okay, we're just going to rub out our shoulders and down our arms. Just moving the blood through our body and also moving the energy. I like to tap it out too. All right, just tap it out. All right, and now shake. Shake it all out. I'm gonna fling my ring across the room. Okay. All right, and return back to easy position where you were before. Hands resting on your knees. Do you feel any movement within your body?
Yeah, kind of like a little tingling all over.
Okay, because we didn't move our legs, can you mentally move that energy through the rest of your body, through the lower half? Just kind of visualize pushing it down. You can feel it through your legs too?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, take one more inhale and exhale. On your exhale, just release any leftover tension. Okay, what are you feeling now?
Pretty chill.
Pretty chill. Okay, what about your hip?
I don't feel it.
You don't feel it? Okay, so even if you said, I'm still anxious, but I just feel a bit more receptive. I'm nervous, but I'm at least here and present. Okay.
No, I feel better. Awesome. Got me out of my head.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so...
Do you need me to put in my headphones?
No, you're totally fine. I can hear you. Okay. All right, so if you are watching at home and setting up your own little ritual like this, Ian, we didn't even explain this, but I always like sage the room or Palo Santo the room or bring a candle, something to just signify that this is a ritual. What happens here is sacred and important, and it's changing you and me because I'm part of this creation too. It's changing us forever, moving forward, right? What we know now becomes a part of who we are, and we are better for it moving forward. And creating a little ritual around it just allows us to solidify that and really honor it and acknowledge it, where it's so easy to be like consuming self-help books and YouTube videos and never acknowledging how much we're growing. So I don't know, what do you have in your room that you can just like put near you to signify, so you remember? Could be like a picture of your wife, of your children, a candle. I love that beautiful plant you got in the corner over there. Ooh, a crystal. Okay. All right. So the crystal's on your desk. It's going to be with us throughout this process. And now every time you look at your crystal, I hope you go, oh shit, I went through that money masterclass manifestation crystal. Okay, cool. Done. Okay. So for any of this to make sense, we have to agree that energy is everything. So I'm going to just go through that explanation again. If anybody's watched the energy is everything food edition video, you've heard this explanation before. If you watch my laboratories, you've heard this explanation before, but it's very important to continue to reiterate it because it's very different than how we think out in reality, right? We look around, we see what our reality is, and we decide that we are just victims to circumstance. Wherein really what's happening is energy is everything. Our thoughts become things. So we are consciously creating what happens in front of us. So to start from the most basic belief, energy is everything. Everything in our expansive universe is just vibrating atoms. Can we agree on that?
You're speaking my language.
Okay, so everything is vibrating atoms, and all of these atoms vibrate at different frequencies, which determine what that thing is, right? So my speaker, which is on, my speaker vibrates at a different frequency than my hair. And that's what determines what it becomes. Does that make sense? So our joyful thoughts vibrate at a much different frequency than our thoughts of grief. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I talk about this a lot in my own work.
Awesome. Okay. So, and I think this is where people got really confused when The Secret came out and it said, you attract what you are. You attract what you want. The law of attraction works by really wanting something and then it comes into your life. That is wrong. That is misleading. You attract what you are. And how you know what you are is by using your emotions to decode that. So if you look around in your reality now and you see what you've created that based on what you currently are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's some absolutely abundant, gorgeous things in your life, like your wife and your babies. And then there are also some hairy areas where you're like, this could be better. And if we were to dig back into your thoughts, you would see that those beautiful, abundant things, you believed that you were worthy of them 10 million%. And that's how they arrived. And
Absolutely.
then the kind of the little hairy things, you still have some hangups around them. You're still a little
100%.
bit afraid of them. And that's why they haven't arrived yet.
Yep.
So in terms of energy is everything. I call this abundance land and lack village. That's how I explain it to my clients. So we have abundance land over here. And if you get your ass into abundance land, it does not matter if you get there thinking about the love of your life, flowers, your chocolate, you dance like a maniac, you use money. It doesn't matter how you emote to get to abundance land. If you are there, everything is available to you. So it's like you walk into abundance land, you have your paycheck, your wife, your kids, your favorite sports, like everything you want is in abundance land. You don't have to get there only thinking, like I don't only attract money by thinking abundant thoughts about money.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Everything that I want in abundance land is available to me when I am in high vibration. And then at the same time, in lack village, when we think that we're manifesting negative things, we're not creating negative things. It's just a restriction on abundance. So just like we can't create darkness, we can't turn on the darkness switch. Darkness is just a restriction of light. So disease is just a restriction on health, and loneliness is just a restriction on joy, and sadness is just a restriction on happiness. And does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. So I think people get really afraid of manifestation because they're like, well, I'm so scared that I'm going to create something negative. You can't create something negative. You can just get in your own way for allowing something positive. I think that's a much more empowering thought too.
Yeah, because it means you can get up and get out of that the same way.
Mm-hmm. You're going to finish your thought?
Sorry,
you can...
I thought it was full enough, but that's okay. Yeah, totally. You can totally get out of your own way at the same speed that you got in it. So
absolutely. But it requires us to believe before we see, right? Because we are always creating the next two steps in front of us. So if you look around at what is now, your thoughts from back then created this.
For sure.
So you have to believe in something greater, bigger, more beautiful to create something bigger, greater, more beautiful. And how we do that is we use our emotions to emit the energy that we want to attract. Does that make sense? Okay. Yep. So this process is not linear. It's not like you go through step A, step B. So I'm going to have to post a picture of this in the comments after because I think this is backwards for you guys.
No, it's good.
It's good? Okay. So I'll still post a picture. But you see, this is a process that's not linear. It's whatever works for you, whatever moves your emotions most. So and we're just going to go through all of these steps, but first we need to define where you want to be. So when we're talking about money, what emotions, actually, let's start with things. What things do you want to get with money? Why are you excited about having more money?
Vacations.
Vacation.
Being able to pay for the schooling that my wife wants so she can leave her job and do what she wants to do.
Mm-hmm. So schooling and freedom. Yeah.
Successful cash flow positive business.
Okay. So, okay. I'll just write successful business. Okay. What else?
Golf.
Lots of golfing.
Lots of golfing.
Okay, this is more than enough. Okay, so right. Vacations, freedom, a successful business, lots of golfing. What emotions do those bring up in you?
Joy.
Okay, joy.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Excitement.
Excitement.
Competition, in a good way, competition.
When you think of competition, is it fully positive to you, or does it hold also?
No, competition for me is like just, a challenge, but in a fun way, What
about
not competition like I'm fighting for every last thing.
Right. But because that word is so weighted, let's only put 1000% positive words in here. So what about competition do you love? Is it the learning and the evolving? Is it the getting better, the building new skills,
I love testing myself against other people. I like the challenge of coming back from when you're behind. I like the kind of the thrill of surpassing what you thought you could do.
Okay. So I'm going to write thrilling, victorious, speak to what you feel like when you come back from being behind, or what feelings do you feel?
It's exciting. It's
excitement.
There's an artistry involved in it too. That's like the creative process of coming back is always really cool. The joy when you end up in a great place when you didn't expect to be there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so surprise. That's fun. Well, we think we love surprises, but we only love surprises that benefit us.
Nobody likes a bad surprise. Just sometimes you don't see it at the time in the moment.
Yes. Okay, so that's actually an amazing start. So everybody, you'll see that inside my circle. How can I make this? Okay, there we go. We have the things and we have the feelings. So the things, the vacation, the school, the freedom, a successful business, lots of golfing. It's sometimes easier. I'm like peeking around my notebook here. It's easier to start there, right? And then work backwards and break down what those feelings bring us. So, and your feelings are joy, freedom, excitement, thrill, victory, excitement again, creativity, and surprise.
Sure.
Okay, so the catch is you have access to all of these things right now in your real life, right?
100% agree with you.
Yes. And so this is a beautiful process of stepping out of the current system that society has taught us that, okay, when I get to the end goal, I get all of this shit. Where really you get all this stuff now. And what's so amazing about watering this, because whatever you water grows. So when you water things like joy, freedom, excitement, creativity, surprise, you are in alignment to attract more of that. And that's how you get to your end goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay. So everything that we're going to do is building the feelings of joy, freedom, excitement in you, because really that's your biggest priority. Your priority every damn day is how can I get in vibrational alignment with what I want to attract? Because you can only attract something that's on your level. If you want to attract abundant things, you have to be abundant. If you want to attract more joy,
you're on my level.
I'm on your level.
You're on my level, at least today.
Well, there's a reason why you are my volunteer, right? Okay, awesome. Okay, so all of these outer circle things, they are getting us to those emotions, right? And we're totally on the same page that you attract what you are. You attract what you are. Okay, so we're going to start with, what do you love about what is right now? Just fire it off. What's so amazing about what is right now?
Like what? Like my current situation?
Current situation, yes.
I get to do what I love. I get to do it every day. I'm surrounded by loving, caring people. I get all kinds of joy from my kids and what they're experiencing as they start their, journey into school and whatnot. I have a lot of freedom. I have opportunities to be, fit and active and healthy. Mm-hmm. I live in a beautiful country with great scenery, a lovely house. I've got a lot going on for me. I really do.
Okay. And so if we think of this as like a big reservoir that we can tap into every day, how much do you feel like you are tapping into, putting all your focus on what you love, what is?
I think I probably focus more on what's not working. And I think
Right.
that's the challenge, right? So the
Yes.
part of my life right now that doesn't work as well as I'd like is the business end of things. So there's a lot of energy put towards something that isn't bearing a lot of fruit.
Mm-hmm. And so if that's your thought process every day, I'm not working hard enough. I just got to work harder, but this is not working out for me. I'm not making money. That's what you're attracting. So all you can get from there is more of that. So you have to try something else. So we have to instead, and even if I love setting, like I said, my 5K in 5 days, I love setting these super laser focused chunks of days. If I said it was 30 days, that would be a bigger commitment, right? Because there's going to be so many variables that come in 30 days where I'm like, okay, maybe I'm lazy today and I don't want to do my affirmations, or maybe I'm lazy today or maybe I'm having anxiety today about my business and I just can't get there. Setting these laser focused time frames help us to build the trust in this process until we know it works. At this point, I know this works. I know that this apartment, my splendid life by the sea, my broccoli man boyfriend, all of these things have come from my past vision boards. I can literally look at my vision boards and go, yep, right there, got that. So I don't need to convince myself that this works anymore. You know what I mean? But if you are new to this, doing these little laser focused tests, which we're going to create one for you and by the end of the call, that builds your confidence in it. So you can, even if it means you attract $17 extra, you can go, okay, I did it with 17. I can turn that into 117. You know what I mean? And build from there. Okay. So one of the important things about raising your vibration is loving about what is. So when I was in Indiana and I did not want to get married and raise my kids in Indiana, I knew that if I said that every day, I don't want to be in Indiana. There's no oceans here. There's no mountains. I can't go hiking. I don't want to be in Indiana. What would I attract from that? You tell me.
More Indiana.
Hell yes. If I wanted to eventually move out of Indiana, I had to find everything I loved about Indiana. And you see how that can be really confusing because it feels like it's a betrayal of your future vision, right? I'm like, if I dig roots in Indiana, if I get involved in my community, if I find things that I love, what if I'm betraying my future vision of one day living by the sea, right?
Right.
It doesn't work like that. The only way I can attract something greater, more aligned with my most abundant vision is to be more abundant. So I started volunteering with organizations that made me really excited. I started urban gardening. I had never urban gardened before. I started making friends. I started a fitness group, joining a fitness group in my area. So I could be like, oh my gosh, my life is so juicy here. And then that's when the opportunity to move to San Diego within a week appeared and we were up and out. The best part is feeling so amazing and juicy in Indiana made my life really beautiful and juicy in Indiana. You can't lose. Do you know what I mean? You can't lose by looking at what is and leaning so hard into it and trusting that something bigger is going to come, but also loving how much of what is right now. It's a win-win always. Okay. So step one is figuring out what you love about what is. The next thing is let's talk about past times that you've manifested things you wanted. So again, trusting this process is a huge piece of it because you literally have to fall back and surrender and go, okay, I know that I'm going to get to where I want faster through pleasure instead of pressure. Rebecca Campbell talks about that all the time. You can shame yourself into studying for a test and get a good grade, or you can get so excited about the material that you are enjoying the learning process and it's really integrating in your cells and then get a good test on a grade. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we can get to the same endpoint, but you can choose whether you're going to shame yourself and whip yourself to get there, or if you're going to find a way to be excited about the journey. Okay, so for past manifestations, what have you, it doesn't mean it was on a vision board, it doesn't mean you sat and visualized it, doesn't mean you said it in a meditation, but what are past things that you know that you wanted that have come about?
This house is one of them.
Okay, the house. And do you have a distinct thought of knowing what you wanted, or?
I knew I wanted a house that was bigger, had more property, where I would have a beautiful office space for future business, a place where the kids could play in the backyard or the dogs to run, which don't exist anymore. But it was, there was an idea of what I wanted, but we didn't have this in mind, not necessarily. Being closer to family, that kind of thing.
Yes. So that was a great point that you made. The vision doesn't need to be exact, literal. It's not like you needed to see room to room, but you knew what the feelings were behind it, right? You wanted space, you wanted freedom, you wanted a comfy sanctuary, and those things manifested, but you weren't like, it needs to be a blue house with 17 windows. So that's an amazing point. It's all about the feeling. Okay. So when you guys got this house, was there ever a moment where you went, oh my God, I did it. We did it.
Yeah, I did a process at one point where we kind of planned out all the stuff that we wanted. So similar to this, but in a probably more archaic way of what we wanted in our lives in the next 5-10 years. And that showed up about 5 years ago. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So with the house example, when we manifest something, we need to stop and go, hell yes, I did this, because we need to make the connection in our brain that this way of thinking brings about results so we can trust in it. Okay. So the house, you did that. Awesome. What else?
When I learned French.
Learned French. Okay. And why do you want to learn French?
No, I did. I used to, I still am dyslexic. So learning in general is a challenge to begin with. But when I was in government, I needed to learn French to be able to progress and to move through the system. And I wasn't supposed to be able to learn. And I was able to do it and do it better than the majority of people who go through the program. So it was an amazing feeling to go from barely being able to speak a word of it to being fluent and capable of speaking with my wife, our family, and her friends. So that was a really awesome experience. Did you
whip yourself through that process, or did you somehow get excited and make it happen?
Well, I had a belief in myself that it was possible, even when they told me it wasn't possible. So, and my motivation had nothing to do with staying in government. It was about being able to communicate with her friends and family. So, so my motivation was different than maybe other people, but I was still motivated to learn. And to do stuff. But no, I don't think I beat myself up too much about it over the process, although it did take a little while.
And that's totally okay. So your motivation came from a desire for connection, right?
100%, yeah.
Yes, which is so much more moving. A feeling is so much more moving than the government going, oh, hey, you did it, right?
Yes.
So awesome. Okay. Let's think of like specific, since we're talking about money, let's think of like specific money manifestation. So I know you just launched a class, and I know someone bought your course. Tell me about
$47.
Woo! No, that's huge. But okay, the thing is, you couldn't have had that transaction unless you were excited about this course and you put it out into the world with joy and abundance. Does that make sense?
I totally agree. I told you it sold before it even existed. So
yes. Okay. So can we add that as a manifestation?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it was great.
Sold a class.
I feel like I'm saying 100% a lot. I got to find a new reason to agree with you.
Not judging whatsoever. Okay. So the next piece, and we could, now that this is on your radar, you're going to keep track, but leaning on past manifestations to go, okay, I can do this. That's also an important part. So that's another piece to contribute to the inner circle. Okay, the next one, giving money an exciting purpose. So many times we're like, I want more money so I can pay off debt. That is soul crushing. That gives me anxiety. That is not going to bring more money. That does not emote to joy in me, right? That does not make me feel expansive and joyful, and that makes me go, I'm a failure and I have debt. So even if the money is eventually going to go to debt, that's not the internal dialogue that we need to have. Does that make sense? Yes. So let's give the money an exciting purpose. And we already touched on this before. So let's just regurgitate the things that you want to do with money that make you so fucking excited.
Being able to support my wife so she can quit. Okay.
And what would that make you feel in your body?
Well, I mean, it would give, I don't have an emotion to tie to it yet, but it would give me what she's given me, give her what she's given me. She allowed me to take my leap of faith to do this, and it would mean the world to me to be able to do that for her.
Yeah. Okay. So that's trust, partnership,
connection, relationship,
love, connection.
Support, yeah.
All of the best things that we're looking for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can use our brains and we can use our dedication and our trudging and our passion to get the external things. But the clients that come back over and over, they're like, I want these things. I want intimacy and partner. You can't get there through strategy and whipping yourself, right? You can only get there by being in abundance land because they're all emotional based. Right. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so that's beautiful. So you want to support your wife. So when you think of these things, and you don't have to do it on camera now, but when you are going through this process, because this is a process we have to practice every day. So when you're going through this process, you're going to be like, I want to support my wife. And it's not just saying the words. You have to get there in you, and you have to feel it, and you have to feel what that would feel like. And maybe you see things in pictures, and you would see like being able to tell her and hug her and pick her up. Or maybe you hear things and you would hear the conversation. Or maybe you just feel it in your body, feel that sense of excitement. We all have different ways. I get like a little download of knowing. It doesn't come in words. It doesn't come in pictures. Other people just visualize scenes. What do you feel like your way?
I've had this running in the background for a while now of can't waiting, I guess is the word I can say, to be able to tell her that you can quit. Like quit. Okay. Go do your thing or work for me. Or
yeah.
It's
okay. So reliving that to use it as a tool, because right when you get there emotionally, you are in abundance land. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So what else can you give money an exciting purpose?
Travel.
Travel. Okay. What does travel bring to you and your family?
Closeness, quality time, fun, freedom, spoiling. Sorry, I got a French word in my head at the moment. I couldn't figure out the English word. Yeah, just to be able to spoil my kids, to be able to buy Christmas gifts for my family that I haven't been able to do for the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Just to spoil other people.
Yeah, and gift giving is really just an acknowledgement of, hey, I see you and I love you and it makes me excited to honor you, right?
Right.
So spoiling, I think that word specifically holds a negative connotation too. So we don't want to use any words that hold also.
Okay, yeah, because I've given my in-laws shit for spoiling my kids. So yeah, right. I totally get that. So yeah, being able to just
love them. Yeah, right. Share in the abundance, right? Who cares if we're rich, if we're alone? That's not fun.
Yeah, I know.
We want to be able to overflow. We want to be like, I have everything and I'm taken care of. And I'm so excited that I get to share it with the people I love. Okay, so that's huge. So that's beautiful. That's an amazing example. So we don't want to be like, I need money because I want to pay off debt. Because right away, that takes us from abundance land to lack. Right away. There's no way to get excited there. And even if the money is eventually going to go to debt, I'm not saying be irresponsible and not pay your debt, because obviously that's going to be a part of the plan. But this is a tool that we're using to get it excited, and that doesn't make us excited. Okay. Next, find integrity with your energy and everything else. So this is like a really big picture thing. So everything is energy. Everything that we are interacting with is interacting with us. So food holds energy, right? We did that in a past training. The literal food holds an energy. And then also our feelings about the food hold an energy. So if I eat a chocolate cake full of processed sugar and junk, that already is a low vibe, something that I've eaten. But then if I also feel shameful and guilty about it, that's even lower.
Makes it even worse.
Yes. So it doesn't mean you have to go out and only eat plants all week, because plants are our highest vibration foods. It does not mean that, but it means that you need to energetically get behind everything that you're eating. You need to do it with integrity. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you have any questions about that?
Actually, I did, because I was thinking about this last week after you had talked about it on a previous episode or whatever. And I was wondering, can you have a cheat and have a good association with the cheat? Like
Yes.
McDonald's, we all know, is a horse crap food, and it's not good for you at all. But there's still something about it that's like, it's nice to be able to treat yourself, even if it is junk.
Yes, that's an amazing question. So I really, and I'm like afraid to say this, so I don't want anyone to take it wrong. I believe that really your energetic feelings about the food are even so much more powerful than the food. Does that make sense? So when I held a retreat in Mexico, all week, the kitchen was making this gorgeous food, and everyone kept saying, oh my God, it tastes so amazing. I can't believe that this is healthy. I've lost like 5 pounds this week. I just don't feel bloated. I feel amazing. And we're like, damn, how did they make that food taste so good? By the end of the week, I went to check in with the kitchen, and they're like, oh, we're using condensed milk and butter and everything. So, but the belief that we all were nourishing ourselves with this amazing food, like allowed us to really settle into our body, to release that bloat. Because really that bloat is just an energetic blockage. Yeah. It's just some tension in the body. So the belief can be even more powerful than the food. The trick is you just have to jump in with both feet. So if you're going to eat that cheat meal, allow it to be completely joyous. That's it. That's all you have to do.
Done. Nachos for dinner. Got it.
If you can get completely behind it and not let your logical brain start deteriorating, going, oh shit, I'm eating really crappy foods. This is not going to work out well. Like that can't happen. And if you were doing this in a laser focused, like 5 days, I wouldn't even play with things that could potentially pull you out. Does that make sense? Okay. So what else could you find? So food is one thing that you can find energy integrity with. What else is there that you're ingesting?
What else am I ingesting?
Yes.
Like booze? Is that what you're getting at? Or,
it could be that too. Okay, so alcohol.
Or do you mean something else, like news or whatever?
Yes. Yeah, that's what I meant. Everything. So let's talk about alcohol. So for alcohol, how do you feel when you drink alcohol?
I'm okay for the first couple.
Okay, so that's a great point. So literally, alcohol brings down your vibration. But if you are using it in a responsible way and can jump in with 2 feet around the joy that it brings you, having a beer to celebrate and sit on your patio or your porch with your wife to be like, we got through bedtime tonight. Oh my gosh, I love you. Let's share a beer. You know what I mean? That's high vibration.
Yeah.
But if you're going to drink it and then the next day be like, oh, I'm such a dolt, or you're going to just get absolutely shit-faced where you actually feel horrible, it can't happen. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So great point about the other things that you ingest. So what else do you ingest? News or whatever media. Okay. So if you are doing a laser focused high vibe challenge, I'm going to guess reading the news is probably not going to contribute to your high vibes. No, not good at all. Okay. So you cut it out for the week. And I know that sounds irresponsible to other people, but let's understand that the only way that we are ever going to get to a point where we have clarity around the solutions to our problems, micro and macro, whole world problems, is we all have to be high vibe to get that clarity about what comes next. You know what I mean? So it's detrimental to always be pulled down by the news, be pulled down into lack of village, which the emotions that are available to in lack village are mental fogginess, confusion, sadness. There are no solutions that are going to come from those parts of our being. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We're not going to come up with a solution. The solution is not in the vibration of the problem. Yes. Thank you. So like Esther Hicks always says, which if you guys don't listen to Esther Hicks, very big suggestion. Yeah, she's amazing. You can't get sick enough to help a sick person, or you can't get poor enough to help a poor person. Does that make sense? So we need to have integrity with our own vibes first, and then eventually we'll build up the muscle so it's so strong that we can read the news and look at it kind of objectively and go, okay, how can I be of service here? And not emotionally get pulled down to the depths where we're useless. Okay, so what about books or TV or? Yeah, totally. If I'm, there's certain TV, there's no way I would even touch with a 10-foot pole. Yep. Most reality shows are junk for that. Mm-hmm. And books, always something inspirational is always good to read, or something that's going to keep you in a good feeling place, right? Right. Okay. So if you're doing your laser focus 5 days, you're not going to touch anything that gives you anxiety, pulls you backwards, makes you scared. Like, You're not going to read about World War II. You're not going to watch Game of Thrones and watch people's heads getting chopped off, right? Just going to have laser focus. So because I'm doing my 5 days of manifesting 5K, I'm only watching Friends. If we watch a show, it has to be Friends. Do you know that show?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Mine is Big Bang right now, so I can't get enough of that.
Yeah, and it's just so silly and easy and fun. It contributes to your high vibration. You're laughing. It just feels easy. So if you have a laser focus for the week, that you have to pass on watching anything or adjusting anything that's going to potentially bring you down.
All right, I got one for you then. So
yes.
If I'm ingesting everything and everything's energy and I am frustrated to the hills with my kids, what do I do with that?
Okay, amazing question. So anytime we are emoting something, it's not a literal translation to immediately something's going to manifest, right? We wouldn't want that, because that's like I have a negative feeling and then a rock flies through my window and hits me in the head. Like, we don't want it to be immediate. It's about building momentum. Yeah. So It's like, how can I get this big, massive positivity boulder moving with so much force that things like my kids driving me up a wall, they can't stop the boulder and get it moving in another way.
Right.
They might get in the way of the boulder, but the boulder's going to roll them over. Sorry, it's not the best analogy when we're talking about your kids.
Sounds like Game of Thrones now, so I'm not sure.
I know. So, might not be the best analogy to run your kids over with a boulder, but the boulder has so much momentum that these little obstacles, they're not going to get in the way.
Got it.
Also, to speak to children are the best mirrors of our energy, right? So, you hold so much power in how you react. It's going to be freaking hard. And I don't have kids right now. I was a nanny for a decade, so I've had the ability to try with other people's kids, but then I get to give them back. It's much different when you have your own kids.
True.
But try to stay in that positive energy and see if it starts to communicate with them, right? Because energy is always communicating. Either they're going to be a vibrational match and rise up to you and calm down and find peace, or there's going to be such a disconnect that they're not going to want to be near you and have this conflict and just be like, I'm going to bed. Bye. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One thing that they're great at too, though, is they're not pissed off or sad too long.
I know, kids are awesome. Kids are amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, because they unabashedly allow their emotions to just flow through them. They don't stifle them. So when they're upset, it's coming all the way out, and it's just like a wave. It gets to crash on the other side, and then they're like, okay, I'm happy again. We need to remember how to get there. Where right now we feel an anxious feeling and we're just like, oh, how can I stifle this? It doesn't go away. Energy can't go away, right? In science, energy doesn't go anywhere. It just turns into different forms of energy. So the more we stifle our emotions, they're still in there. So they're actually an amazing example for you if you do have some anxiety, I teach people to use their whole body and almost exaggerate it so it can just get the fuck out of you and be over, and then you can get back to happy, right?
Done.
Okay. So do you have any other questions about finding integrity with your energy?
Nothing else at the moment.
Okay. Slow down so you can hear the information that's coming through. So within manifestation, it's really easy to forget that ideas are manifestations too, right? So in my 5 days where I want to manifest 5K, I might literally get a check, or I might get an idea that's a $5,000 or $500,000 idea. And honoring that idea is also so important for the manifestation. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
But we need to find time and space to slow down and allow those pings to come through. And then the hard part is when the ping comes, you have to follow through on it. So have you had moments where you're meditating, or even when you're doing something you love, like playing golf or giggling with your kids, and an idea comes through and you're like, I should create a course on that. I should do a masterclass on that. I should do a Facebook Live on that. I should email this person. Totally.
You're an example of that in 2 or 3 different situations. So my first contact with you, the video awesome. I did, and then 2 days ago when you said, hey, I'm going to do this thing, and 150 views had already gone through. I'm like, it's probably taken, but maybe I should try it anyways.
Awesome.
So, yeah,
I love it. Okay. So if you don't follow through on the pings, the good stuff can't come, right? The pings are really the beauty. We don't want to get to the end goal all at once. It's not like you don't want to eat all your favorite meals in one sitting. You don't want to have all your orgasms in one day, right? You don't. We think that we want the biggest download. Like, you don't want to sit and get the biggest download and know exactly where you need to be, because the business plan would be 700 pages long. That'd be too much to digest, right? You just want the next step to the next lily pad, right? And we have to honor that that's also a positive manifestation. And when we're talking about money, that's also a financial manifestation. But your job is to just make the space. Your job is to get in alignment with joy and abundance, right? To make the space, whether that mean take a walk in nature, meditate, find space where you're not ingesting things. You just have enough space to hear what's coming through, and then you have to follow through on them. Okay, so let me ask you, have there been pings that have come through lately that you haven't followed through on? Because fear jumps in right away and goes, that sounds really scary.
Nothing jumps to mind, but yes, I know it happens for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so just honoring.
Yeah, I think one happened last week. I had an idea to maybe I should be contacting someone in TV. And then I'm like, yeah, maybe not yet. Maybe not now, or I'm not quite there, that kind of thing, for sure.
Yes. Okay. So the universe is listening. Everything is energy. You have to answer the call when the call comes through, or else the calls aren't going to continue to come through, right? It's like the universe is going, hey, I showed up for you. I gave you the next step, and then you stifled it. That's a lie. The calls are always going to come through. The universe has your back, like Gabby Bernstein's new book. The universe has your back. The calls are always going to come through. It's not like a relationship where you have to act a certain way for it to work. But those little pings are there for you to get you to the next lily pad. So like in my original example where I hadn't gone on an acting audition for 2 years, and I just got a ping that said, email your agent. And I'm like, I have not thought about my agent in 2 years. And I emailed her and I was like, hey, we haven't talked in 2 years, but I'm available if you want to send me out on some auditions. And she's like, okay, came in on Friday. Then on Friday, she's like, hey, I have an audition in 2 hours. You want to go? I went. I made $7,000 off of it. But if I looked at it logically, I would go, oh my gosh, I weigh 20 pounds more than when I was working with her before. My hair is short. It used to be really long. My hair is now blondish. It used to be brown. Like I could come up with so many reasons why it wouldn't make any sense, but that's not my job. My job is just to follow the pings.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last piece is practice every day. So
this is probably where I fall off the horse the most.
And that's totally okay. So like I say, with everything, with the food, with the exercise, with the movement, it's not a theoretical practice. Right? I sometimes even go, yeah, I meditate. I teach this. And then I'll look back in the week and I'll be like, I haven't actually meditated in a week. It's not a theoretical process. Just because you know what to do does not mean that you are doing it. You need to make the time to do it. And this could be a 10-minute process in the morning, right? It could just be a 10-minute process. And what's scary is that we're afraid of, if we actually do this work and really show up and it doesn't come through, that's what we're afraid of, right?
I have no time. I mean, I have no excuses not to do this.
Right.
None.
So what is stopping you?
I don't know. I've obviously been focusing on not quite the right things, because majority of my life is roses, right? But there's a little sliver that needs a little bit of work, right, that I've been pinching off for some reason.
And then so we're taught by the world to go, what's not working? Let's stare at it and smash it with a hammer until it starts to work, right? And that's what you've been doing. But what you water grows. So that's the only thing that's getting all of your attention. So it's just staying there, or it's getting amplified and getting worse.
It's, for me, like I've been doing this now for a while, and I'm trying to focus more on the things that give me more joy and focus on those things. But then it's like I'm focused on that and I'm looking for the immediate something to come from it. So yes, I'm working on the project. Ooh, that $47 comes through. Woohoo! I'm on the right path. But now I'm watching the account to see every time I do another thing, is there somebody else come through?
Right. Okay. And so emotionally, where does that put you?
And it definitely puts me in lack village.
Yeah. So there's no way someone could come through, right?
Yeah.
What could be a different choice to make?
I continue focusing on what I enjoy doing.
Just get into joy in any way. That could mean go outside and roll around in the grass with your kids, right? We think that we need to be literally productive, like to the grind. But the most productive thing you can do is be in alignment with the goals that you want. If we believed it enough, you could literally sit on your ass and money would just flow into your account.
So I guess that's it. I guess there's still a disbelief.
That's okay. So that's why we're going to create a mini challenge for you so we can see what comes through.
Sure.
Okay. So the last piece is you have to practice. So either you're going to read books about it, but they have to be books that only get you excited about it. Okay. You never want to work with a coach, read a book, watch videos that uses fear to inspire you to change, right? Not going to happen. So read exciting books. Do your affirmations every morning if that's a way that gets you excited about them. So for me, I like to, I do this writing exercise in my book, and it starts with, I write, everything is energy. I can receive this. And then I start writing things that are energetic that I've received. Like, I love this beautiful apartment. There are windows in every direction. I love the palm trees out my door. I love my partner, Patrick. He makes me laugh so hard. And I just like go on a rant and allow myself to get excited for like 5 pages, because remember, it's about momentum. So I'm building momentum. I'm pushing that boulder to move faster and faster. And then I'll bring it around. If I'm focusing on money, I'll bring it around to money and say, everything is energy. Money is energy too. And I can receive all of this. Just like I've received everything else, I can receive this in money form too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's my little exercise. It could be for you. You walk around your house and you're like, money's coming to me. I love money. Like, you could say affirmations. You could watch Esther Hicks videos. That's what I use all the time. Find a community that also believes in this, right? Because how many people in your life are like, that's a crock of shit?
Most people.
Yes. So it's very easy to get so excited about this now and then go out in the world and be like, oh no, I don't know if I believe it. It happens to me all the time. I love what I do, and I love my people, my internet people and my clients, and then I'll go to like a potluck with people that don't know me and they don't talk about energy in their life. And then I'm like, oh, I don't know if I believe this, or I'm not brave enough to believe, you know what I mean? Like, we need friends around us that we can talk this through and go, you're right, I remember, this is real. Yeah. Teach your partner so you can share this language with your partner. I admit my partner, he has come so far. He's a little bit resistant, like totally okay. He comes from a family of doctors and scholars. Like, this goes against everything he knows. Right. But just in looking at what we've created together, I've taught him to start to believe this. And he'll be like, I got to get in alignment if I want to study. He'll be like, I can't even focus. I hate this. And he'll be like, you're right. I need to go for a walk and get into alignment and then study. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If all else fails, have fun and laugh. That gets you to an alignment right away. Have fun and laugh. And you have the most amazing, have fun little tools. Kids are so fun. They're amazing. I've always had my greatest, most brilliant ideas when I was a nanny, because I just get to tap into their joy. Or work with a coach. Work with a coach who helps you to see your specific blocks, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So with all of this, let's create for you a laser focused, like 5, 10, 15 day plan and see what miracles come out of it. So let's start with what's a realistic amount of time that you would get excited about doing this?
2-3 weeks is fine with me.
Okay, let's go a little bit shorter, just because we don't want anything to get in the way. So let's start with we're going to do a smaller amount of money for a smaller amount of time.
Sure.
Just so you get immediate trust factor. Does that make sense?
Done.
Okay, so how about we just do 10 days?
Sure.
I'm like, Ian, you come up with it. No, let me bowl you over with my own ideas and I pick.
I said 2 weeks, and you just pared me back a little bit. That's okay.
Okay, so let's do 10 days. And then let's come up with a number that there's no way you could doubt it.
See,
No way.
I tried this in my mind today. I'm like, 5,000 sounds awesome, but is that realistic?
Right. Okay. So that's an amazing point. So
then I was like, 800. I like 800. I could do something with 800. That would be cool. I could go out to dinner. I could do something. So I don't know. I have no idea. But
let's start even lower. So there's no way that your logical brain can jump in and go, nope, not happening. There's no way. Because what you're going to do is you're going to start looking at your coaching packages and your classes that you offer and everything. And you're going to be like, there's no way I can make 800. That means I would need to attract this many people. Like, we don't want that dialogue to happen. Right. You have to first, let's start with a number that you couldn't care less if it came or if it didn't come.
Well, having made nothing recently, anything is good. So
let's say you're going to get a new student for your course. How about that?
The real course. Yeah. Not the, sorry, I have a do-it-yourself course, right. And then I've got like where they actually pay to be part of a group. I'd like to have the group. You
want to have someone who joins the group?
Yeah.
Okay, so how much money is that?
Close to $300.
$300. Okay, we are going to manifest $300 in 10 days. So you have to be open to, this could come from anything. This could be the government sending you a check and being like, hey, you fucked up on your taxes. Here's $300.
I have that check down here for $20. It's weird. Anyways, yeah, it's weird.
Awesome. Okay, so with my manifestation challenge, yes, the money might come from a new client or something, but I want it to come from something so fucking weird that you guys are like, okay, I believe you. Like, I want it to come from like a great aunt who's like, I've been thinking about you. Here's $5,000 for, I don't know. I want to come from something so weird that you guys believe me, but you have to be open. You can't laser focus on the class and just be like, it has to come from the class.
No, I get
wide open. Okay. But it helps to boost your trust in the process because you know you have a structure in place to make $300, right?
And this is $300 that isn't from known sources, right?
It could be, okay, sorry, so I'm getting confusing. So it could be definitely from a known source. It could be someone signs up for your class. But if you are restricting the universe to only bringing you money through that class, you're in the way. So you just say, I'm open. I don't care where it comes from. I'm open, right? It helps that you have something in place because we have a logical mind still that's going to jump in. It helps you have something in place. And you're like, okay, well, I do have that course that people could sign up for, so that makes sense. Like, that helps. Right. It's only a detriment if you start going, yeah, but who the heck would sign up and work with me? Like, cut that shit out immediately. If that comes up, change the subject, do something fun. Do not let that conversation happen. So you're just wide open. Okay, so you have 10 days. You're going to create $300. How are you going to signify the beginning of this? Crystal. Okay, we got the crystal. And you're going to write it in a calendar or print off a calendar or something. It's going to become like, you're going to print off a calendar and highlight 10 days and hang it up.
Okay.
Like, laser focused. I am in. You're basically raising your hand in the universe and going, I am so ready. I'm going to give immense value to anybody that joins my class. The money that comes in is going to be put to the most exciting purposes. I'm going to use it towards something that makes me feel so much joy that it's just going to attract more money. Like, anytime you look at it, you are just going to overflow with excitement and gratitude and abundance. Yeah?
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. So you calendar, and then your daily process is going to be the things that we went through. So you're going to, and this conversation is going to be the same for every day. You're going to say, what do I love about right now? And you're going to get there emotionally. 2, think of the past manifestations. 3, you're going to give money an exciting purpose. 'If anybody has questions, I should have said this in the beginning. I can see your questions. If anybody watching has a question, write them, and I would love to answer. And if you're watching the replay and you have a question, leave them in the comments, and I will absolutely answer.
Can I bump up the dollar value?
Bump it? Yeah. What?
I'm not excited about $300. I'm freaked out. I have no idea where it's going to come from. But 300 sounds like.
But okay. So that's a good point. So I think it's better to be indifferent at this point until it comes true and you are just like, okay, that was easy, right?
Can I say at least 300? Can we change it to that at least?
Well, so it doesn't need to be only 300. It can be much more. But the number, we just want the number to not evoke a negative emotion in you.
Okay.
So I was going to suggest that you say $27. Like I was going to start way low because you want it to be indifferent, right?
Okay.
So like, for instance, I've had a check for $3 million on my vision board for 10 years. It's supposed to come true on my birthday now. I cannot energetically get behind that. Like there's no way I can, my logical brain is just like, no, there's no way. So that was like a wasted endeavor for me. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I had a check for $250 on it, like I could know for sure, oh, hell yes, I'm getting $250 extra on my birthday. This, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you don't need to be so excited about the number. You need to almost be indifferent so you can't get in the way of it coming.
Okay.
Because it not coming means there's a restriction on it. It doesn't mean that you've manifested something negative. It just means there's a restriction on the flow.
Gotcha.
Okay. So let's just stick with 300.
Okay.
So number 4, you're going to find integrity with everything else you ingest. Okay. Number 5, and this is a really important one. You're going to make space. So meditate, go for a walk, run. And then you're going to follow the pings when they come through.
Is that all part of number 5?
That's all part of number 5.
Okay.
So say you're on a run and you're like, I have the perfect blog post, or I have the perfect Facebook Live. Follow it. Even if 3 minutes later you're like, oh, I'm really scared. I can't do it. You have to follow through with the deal that you made with the universe.
Gotcha.
You got into alignment for these manifestations to come through. You have to follow through on your end of the deal. So make space, follow the pings. Okay. And then number 6, practice. You have to show up and actually do this every day. So in addition to your morning process of going through this, what other forms of practice could you do?
You lost me there.
Okay. So, so again, like this is not theoretical. You have to actually do this. So number 6 is you have to actually implement it, but you also need to practice. So remember the practice, we could read books, affirmations, YouTube videos, find a community that also speaks like this, teach your partner, have fun, laugh. Like what are other ways that you can continue to build this abundant momentum, continue to be able to push that boulder, get the positive momentum boulder moving.
Okay.
So what are other things throughout your day that you can dot and just make sure that you are like in high vibe as much of the day as you can be?
Like to kind of assess where I'm at every day and to make sure that I'm going into that as much as possible?
No, just how can you get to a place of joy, freedom, excitement, creativity, surprise every day? And these might be like fairly mundane. Like I'm saying, like you're going to play with your kids when they get home from school, right?
Okay.
So let's generate some high vibe things that you could do throughout your day.
All right. So yeah, definitely play with my kids, hug my wife, turn on Big Bang.
Okay.
Eat an apple.
You love apples?
No, I just mean eat something healthy, eat something good, something that I know feels good to eat.
Yes. Okay, so that's also a good point. So if you eat something healthy that you don't like, it's not worth eating it.
No, I'm teasing.
You love apples. Okay.
I don't buy stuff I don't like, so it's all good.
Perfect. Okay, and then the other part of practice is you have to actually do the work every day for 10 days.
Right.
Okay, that's everything.
Awesome.
Okay, so what I feel like the biggest piece out of this for you, what your biggest block is right now is exactly what you've said. You're just watering the lack instead of watering what is so amazing. Does that make sense?
No, I have a garden right outside my window, and I was like, yeah, the part that's not growing anything, that's where all the water's going. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Awesome. That was really good. Yeah, that's everything. Do you have any questions?
No, I think I finally have a mini game plan, which is something that it's implementing the practice of something that I think I struggle the most with. The concept makes sense. The theory makes sense. I mean, I practice a lot of this, but I don't practice the practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, cool. So it's just showing up. It's just showing up. And a lot of us, we're afraid to show up because then we're afraid of what we'll have to do on the other side. Mm-hmm. Right? So we're afraid of actually getting the ping because then it means we need to do it. But you are so ready to follow through with the pings, right? You are so ready to fill your courses. You are so ready to have 25 new clients, right?
Yes.
You are ready. Okay.
Come on.
Amen. So number one, anybody watching, check out Ian. Ian is a fulfillment coach. Do you want to talk about what you do a little bit?
I totally wasn't ready for that.
But that's great because it's just who you are. So it's not like even a pitch. You're just saying.
No, what I mean is my intention to come here had nothing to do with selling it.
Oh my gosh, I know. This is just, you're in high vibration. So
I was following a ping when I came to you. So yeah, I'm a life fulfillment coach. I help people to implement small practices to help them, do what they love to do. So yeah. I'm not going to go too deep into that.
Okay.
But if you want to check me out, you can check out my website. We can leave a link maybe underneath or something.
Yes, leave a link.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Awesome. Ian, you are so wonderful. Thank you for showing up. Everybody who watched live, thank you for showing up. Leave your questions. And I'm going to post this chart in a picture after so you can see what we were scribbling out. And I invite everybody to try their own laser focus couple of days, couple of weeks to see what miracles come out of it and then report back.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So far in your 5-day, $5,000 thing, how's that working out? Or do you have something special planned?
I don't have something special planned. So number one, I've created 3 new courses just because even sitting waiting for us to start, I go through these things to be high vibe for my clients, right? So throughout this process, did you feel high vibe? Do you feel?
Yeah, I feel great.
Yes. So that's what's so fun also about co-creating with somebody else who's really aware of their energy. I take pride in understanding that I need to be high vibe because I'm going to bring you up in our hour together. And in this hour, we've already got your boulder moving. You know what I mean? So before we came on the call, I was dancing, saying my affirmations, listening to Esther Hicks, just getting excited. And literally 3 minutes before I knew I had to send you a thing, I got a download and had to write out a whole new course. So I've gotten so many pings. In terms of money, I've had $1,100 come through in the 5 days. But the only way that this can happen is if I believe 1,000,000%. Even I've told all of you, so it has to happen or else I'm going to have to eat my words, right? I know it's going to come through before the 5 days. So awesome. That's where I'm at right now.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you, Ian. Alrighty. I'm super excited to hear what happens. Keep me in the loop.
I will do. Take care.
All right. And thank you, everybody who hung out. I'm super excited to hear what happens for you guys, too.
Awesome.
Awesome tips, Tory. Thanks.